Hello and welcome to another video. In this one I wanted to talk more in depth about the upcoming skill system changes and a couple issues that I've been thinking about that may arise with them, and even some recent things that they've done which it gets a little into sort of a tiny bit of a sketchy territory. I'll fully explain what I mean when I get to those points. We are playing on the Hellbringer with the Gauss ER medium laser build. It is my favorite mech and my favorite build on the mech, and that is relevant to the thing we're going to talk about just now. And ooh, I hit that nice good sniper shot, as I've played this mech for an extremely long time and I am extremely used to this build and its capabilities. And about the skill system. Okay, let's first off start with some positives, because good news first. The new system is amazing in the fact that it allows pilots to choose what mechs they want. They can get a single Hellbringer, they can upgrade it how they wish, they can invest all of their XP into it. They do not need to buy multiple Hellbringers. Oh, you just missed. They just need to buy the one, they don't need to buy the 3 and upgrade. That entire system is gone. That is actually going to make it so I'm most likely going to do another free-to-play series, because the entire progression of the free-to-play, my previous ones has been invalidated. So we're going to need to do it over again in order to give a proper representation of what the free-to-play experience is like under that new system. What's also good is, from the initial values, the C-bill costs look reasonable. So where before, and actually right now, this mech here has something like, 6 million for radar deprivation, 6 million for a seismic sensor, 3 million for 2 weapon modules, and that makes it quite costly. The new system looks like it's actually going to be fairly reasonable comparatively, so that's good. More C-bills for people in their coffers, less that they're going to have to spend on individual mechs to fully level them up, and that means people buying more mechs, which is always good for PGI. PGI wants people to buy mechs, so they buy mech bays, so they are happier and they spend more money to get more MC, so they can buy those mech bays. And also, full customizability of the system allows someone who, like me, I enjoy heat-efficient, consistent builds. I can build that. I can go for heat efficiency, I can go for firepower, I can do that kind of stuff, where somebody who wants sort of an alpha-type build can build that in. They can just go pure firepower and ignore a lot of the heat efficiency stuff. It's good customizability. But let's move on to some of the issues that I see the system might have in the future. Now, I want to preface this with the video that we've seen is all the information we have. I assume that they're going to have more values in the future, and that things might change. But I don't want people to be like, all right, let's get the torches and pitchforks and let's go on a raid, because obviously they're screwing us over. No, we're going to see what the values come out to. But the XP costs look very large. There's 10,000 XP in the video per point, and it looks like you could get about 75 points. So in total, that would be 750 XP. Compare that to the current system, where it takes 57,250 XP to master a mech completely. And I am referencing some couple sticky notes that I have stuck in front of my desk here, so it's not like I have the ability to remember all of these numbers off the top of my head. Now, the question that I think people should ask themselves is this a fair quantity? Is this the amount of XP and that they want to invest into their mech? Is this the amount of effort that they want to invest? It's going to take a certain quantity of time in order to grind that XP. Is that equivalent? They are removing the 3 chassis things, so you do not have to have 3 variants, which means that realistically they could increase the grinding by 3 and it would be basically equal. I would be okay with that, considering also OmniMechs, you can choose whatever Omni design you want, so that would be completely reasonable for clan OmniMechs. Like with my Hellbringer here, I don't care if it's the only Hellbringer I have and it takes 3 times longer. I had to upgrade two other Hellbringers beyond this previously to get this one to its point, so you do the same amount of work. However, the 750,000 XP is drastically larger than the previous calculation, the amount it would be, which would be 85,750 to get 2 mechs to basic and 1 mech to master. Say if you want to get all those mechs to master, like this is the first time you're actually doing that weight class, it takes 171,750. So there was a significant difference between 750,000 and those two numbers. Did pretty well in this game, even though I'm focusing on the talking here. 306,000 C-bills and kill 8 assists, 733. We're just going to continue on through, and we'll get back in the mech lab and launch into another match here. Well, actually, I'll show something else before we get to that. Another thing to be concerned about is the relative costs to convert that amount of XP through the XP to GXP conversion system. It normally costs 25 XP per 25 XP for 1 MC. So to convert, the amount it takes to fully elite 1 mech is 2,290 XP for the approximate cost of 9.16 USD. This is taking into consideration the standard rate of 250 MC per dollar. For the previous system, where, if I pop into my skills here, I have several mechs that are in this situation, namely, say, what are some of the ones? Things like the, oh yeah, crabs would be perfect. I either played or GXP'd these two ones to elite through their basics, so that I didn't have to take one all the way. And then this one that was the resistance variant that I can't sell and keeping around, I took all the way. So to do that would be 85,000 XP, 85,750 XP for 3,430 MC for $13.72. But compare that to the new system with 750,000 XP, it would cost 30,000 MC, which would be $120. So you look at that and say, does fully upgrading a mech under the current system cost $9.16 to do it the convenience way? Where under the possible future system, of course, all the numbers there are still placeholder, and this is more of just a discussion, it would cost $120. That's a very significant increase. We have to ask ourselves, is that okay? Is it alright for us to be saying that right now it's like, you have $10, you can fully upgrade your mech if you played other mechs. That's really reasonable, I'd say. You're trading that $10 for the amount of time it would take to upgrade that mech, which, yeah, that's reasonable. But if you were to trade $120 for the amount of time it would take to upgrade under the new system, maybe it's reasonable, but that $120 worth of MC, that's 30,000. That can buy you a considerable quantity of hero mechs, or like infinite mech bays if you wanted that. So if you go to Battle Mechs Hero, you could basically buy like the majority of heroes. You could buy maybe not the majority, but you could buy a very large quantity of heroes. You know, Warhammer Thunderbolt sort of around 5,000. You could buy easily 6 heavy heroes for the price of fully GXPing 1 mech under the new system. It definitely isn't worth it under the new system in that sense. And also it just makes it so that converting XP is just not worth it. If you have to spend so much in order to get anywhere on the new system, do you do that? It's going to cost 10,000 XP per point. At least that's the placeholder value. Does that mean that, 25 XP per MC, is that worth it to convert that 10,000 to get a single point on something else? Personally, it wouldn't be. I would never do that in the future. And what I mentioned earlier, it's sort of the tiny bit of sliminess. I want to preface this by saying, again, placeholder values, and this is just for something to them to consider. My Hellbringer Prime here has 47,000 additional XP over top of it already having the 57,250 that's been invested in the mech. We know that that XP is being refunded to us, so my Hellbringer will more likely have around 100,000 after this is over. But they just had a sale. They had the double XP conversion event. They had the bonuses for converting large amount of XP. And I had a bunch of MCs sitting around, and I just was like, yeah, screw it. I'm just going to do it. And I actually converted 1 million experience. I had 700,000 more experience on my Hellbringer, and I had 300,000 experience more on my Mad Dog. I converted those amounts for the clean 1 million. I got all the bonuses from doing the conversions, which are nice, some extra C-bills and cockpit items. But I just did it because then I have a repository of GXP, so that way in the future, say a brand new mech has come out and I want to do a live stream, I can elite that mech. Before I start the live stream, I can come out there and it's going to be like the Marauder 2C that's coming out next patch. I will sit down and I will elite the hero, and then I'll play the hero for several games so that I can show people what the mech is like fully mastered out and having it speed tweak and all that stuff. And I purchased that amount of XP through the conversion on the sale value was $80 worth of MC, because I thought that it was going to do 17.5 mechs. That's how much 1 million XP gets you 17.5 mechs fully mastered. But under the new system, it's going to be 1.3 mechs. So I look at that and say, that seems really weird, because it's equivalent, and it basically is, of you purchasing something from somebody and then coming back the next day and them saying the value of what you purchased is way lower than you thought it would be. So if I exchange currencies. I spent MC to move XP to GXP. So I lost that value in my MC, but I gained GXP. When I come back the next day and I have my GXP and they say, but oh, your GXP is worth, 17 times less now. But why did you have a sale the day before? Did you not know that you were going to be changing this and that you were going to make it so that the GXP is worth way less? You promoted its sale and then you nerfed it. I wonder, because the Hellbringer had that XP because it's my favorite mech in the game. I would rather play the Hellbringer over anything else. When the new system comes in, it was going to be the first one that I would have upgraded completely. But now I have to think, if I do that, it's obviously not going to have enough XP, so I'm going to have to dip into my GXP, but then I'm just putting GXP back on the mech that I converted it from. I basically, if the system goes ahead with no changes, which I'm assuming it won't, and again, this is just a sort of a thought experiment, something to provoke conversation, I would have basically thrown away 20,000 MC or $80 worth of value from my account. And I think that needs addressing. We need to have that answer, because I have the records of my MC conversions. It's in my account. They can see I converted that on the 29th, just like 5 or 6 days, like 5 days before they made this announcement. So obviously they knew that the system was going to change at that point, yet they still promoted a sale to have people convert, even though me converting is now going to negatively impact my future in the game. Now, I want to put a boilerplate on this. I am part of sort of the Mech Warrior 1%. I have an incredible amount of playtime. I have an incredible amount of value in my account. If you look at the mechs I have, like, I literally only have, I can count on my fingers the amount of mechs I have that do not give me 30% bonus C-bills. I have incredible amounts of value. This doesn't set me back very much. However, it's the principle of it. It's the fact that there was a sale promoting GXP conversion when they knew that GXP under the new system was going to be devalued, especially that conversion. Not that GXP itself is being devalued, kind of. You need more of it to fully equip one mech, where previously you could get away with just 57,000 of it. But that conversion ratio, the cost effectiveness of doing it would get really bad in the future with these new numbers, so they promoted it right before they made the change, so that way it seems that they could get the last bit that they'll ever get out of that system. Again, no torches and pitchforks yet. Let them come out with the PTS and address these issues, but I'm simply raising them immediately so that it's something they can think about while they're designing. But yeah, that's gonna be it. That's all I had for the systems, my thoughts and critiques on it. Hopefully those get addressed. My voice is still relatively recovering. It's getting better, and I will have the Roughneck Should You Buy out tomorrow. And as always, thanks for watching, and good hunting.